At countryside, far from the attention of the world, two siblings find themselves facing an impossible choice. Spider and Jessie have always had only one constant in their lives: each other. When their mother suffers a fatal overdose, their fragile world collapses overnight. Terrified of what will happen next, the siblings make a desperate decision. Instead of calling for help, they hide her body inside an old farm shed. Not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Fear that the authorities will separate them. Fear that the foster care system will tear apart the only family they have left. Bound together by grief and desperation, they swear never to tell anyone the truth. As the days pass, Spider and Jessie are forced to survive on their own. With no money, no guidance, and no adults to depend on, they struggle to maintain the illusion that everything is normal. Every meal becomes a challenge, every conversation becomes a risk, and every passing day makes their secret harder to keep. What begins as a desperate attempt to stay together slowly turns into a dangerous web of lies. The pressure intensifies when their foster care worker starts asking questions. Concerned by their mother's sudden absence, she comes looking for answers. Spider and Jessie are forced to think quickly, inventing excuses and covering their tracks at every turn. But secrets have a way of refusing to stay buried. With each visit, each question, and each close call, the siblings find themselves trapped deeper inside the story they created. The fear of being discovered hangs over them constantly, threatening to unravel everything they have fought to protect. As grief, guilt, and uncertainty begin to weigh heavily on their shoulders, Spider and Jessie must navigate a world they were never prepared to face alone. Because sometimes the people we love most are the very people we're willing to risk everything for. And for Spider and Jessie, keeping their family together may come at a cost neither of them could have imagined. Spider never wanted this life. One moment she was just a teenager trying to get through school, and then she was carrying a burden far too heavy for someone her age. With their mother gone and their secret hidden from the world, Spider and her younger sister Jessie are forced to survive on their own. Every day becomes a balancing act between keeping up appearances and holding their lives together behind closed doors. At school, the pressure begins to take its toll. The weight of the secret becomes almost unbearable. Desperate for someone to talk to, Spider finally confides in a trusted friend, revealing the truth she has been carrying ever since her mother's death. For the first time, she allows herself to admit what her life has become. She is no longer just a sister. She is a caregiver, a provider, a parent. While other teenagers worry about homework and friendships, Spider spends her days making sure Jessie has food on the table and a safe place to sleep. She cooks meals, shops for groceries, manages the household, and does everything she can to create some sense of normality for her younger sister. But keeping the family together becomes even harder when the past comes knocking at their door. Reese, a local drug dealer and the boyfriend of Spider's late mother, arrives looking for answers. He wants to know where she is and why she has suddenly disappeared. Thinking quickly, Spider lies. She hides the truth and does everything she can to protect the secret that could destroy everything. For a moment, it seems the deception works. But Reese isn't convinced, and before he leaves, he delivers a warning that changes everything. Their mother owed him money, a debt that has not been forgotten. And now, according to Reese, that debt belongs to Spider. Suddenly, the struggle to survive becomes far more dangerous. What was once a desperate attempt to keep her family together is now complicated by threats, pressure, and responsibilities no teenager should ever have to face. As the walls begin closing in, Spider realizes that protecting Jessie may require more than courage. It may require sacrifices she never imagined. While shopping at a local food market with Jessie, Spider notices something unusual. Across the crowd, a young man is pointing a camera in their direction. Caught off guard, she immediately becomes suspicious. In a world where every stranger could be a threat to the secret she is desperately trying to protect, she isn't willing to take chances. Determined to find out what he wants, Spider confronts him. To her surprise, the young man isn't investigating her or asking questions. Instead, he admits that he noticed her and wanted to meet her. Gathering his courage, he asks her out on a date. Spider immediately refuses. She has a sister to care for, bills to worry about, and a secret that grows heavier every day. There simply isn't room for anything else. But Jessie sees things differently. For the first time in a long while, she sees an opportunity for Spider to think about herself instead of everyone else. Encouraging her to take a chance, Jessie convinces her to reconsider. Reluctantly, Spider agrees. Their date takes them away from the noise of town and into the quiet beauty of a nearby forest. Surrounded by towering trees and sunlight filtering through the leaves, the young man introduces Spider to something she never expected: to enjoy photography. Patiently, he shows her how to frame a shot, how to notice details others overlook, and how to capture a moment before it disappears. At first, Spider is hesitant. But as she begins taking pictures, something unexpected happens. She's good at it, really good. For the first time in months, her mind isn't consumed by fear, responsibility, or the weight of her secret. Instead, she's focused on the world through a lens, discovering beauty in places she had stopped noticing. The young man sees her natural talent immediately. And before they part ways, he gives her a gift, a camera of her own, not as a gesture of pity, but as an opportunity, a chance to practice, to learn, and perhaps to find something that belongs entirely to her. As Spider walks away with the camera in her hands, she feels something she hasn't felt in a very long time: hope. For weeks, Spider has carried the weight of an impossible secret. Every day has been a struggle to keep her world from falling apart. She has become a parent to Jessie, a protector, a provider, and the guardian of a truth that could change their lives forever. But no matter how hard she tries, the pressure continues to build, and eventually, something has to give. One afternoon, a simple disagreement between Spider and Jessie escalates into a heated argument. Frustrations that have been buried for weeks finally explode. The stress, the grief, the fear of losing each other, it all comes pouring out. Then, in a moment of anger she immediately regrets, Spider slaps Jessie. The look on Jessie's face says everything. Heartbroken and furious, Jessie runs from the house before Spider can stop her. But in the chaos of the moment, neither of them realizes something dangerous. Jessie's inhaler is empty. Alone and upset, she struggles to catch her breath. What starts as discomfort quickly turns into a medical emergency. Her lungs tighten, her strength fades, and before anyone can help, Jessie collapses. Soon, sirens fill the air. Jessie is rushed to the hospital while Spider follows in panic, blaming herself for everything that has happened. Desperate for news, she arrives at the hospital expecting answers. Instead, she finds another obstacle. Without a legal guardian present, she is denied access to information about Jessie's condition. Forced to sit helplessly in the waiting room, Spider is confronted by a reality she has been avoiding for weeks. No matter how much she tries, she cannot replace a parent. As fear and uncertainty overwhelm her, a familiar face appears. The town sheriff, an old friend of her mother's, arrives at the hospital. Understanding more about the family's situation than most people realize, he steps in and offers support. After helping resolve the situation, he takes the sisters home, giving Spider a brief moment to breathe. But that peace is short-lived, because Reese returns. Still obsessed with collecting the debt he claims their mother owed him, he arrives demanding payment. This time, however, his behavior becomes far more threatening. Taking advantage of Spider's vulnerable position, he attempts to intimidate and control her. But Spider refuses to be powerless. When the situation turns dangerous, she fights back. A violent struggle breaks out. Acting on instinct and fear, Spider grabs a baseball bat and swings. The impact changes everything. As Reese falls, panic consumes her. Unsure what to do and terrified of the consequences, she calls 911. Within minutes, police officers flood the property. What begins as an emergency response quickly becomes something much bigger. While searching the area, authorities uncover the secret that Spider and Jessie have been hiding since the very beginning. Their mother's body. The truth is finally revealed. The lies are over. The burden Spider has carried for so long is lifted in the most painful way possible. In the days that follow, their mother is finally laid to rest. A proper funeral is held, allowing friends, family, and the community to say goodbye. For Spider, it is a moment filled with sadness, relief, and reflection. The future remains uncertain. She doesn't know what will happen next. She doesn't know whether she and Jessie will remain together or what decisions others will make about their lives. But for the first time since her mother's death, she is no longer carrying the secret alone. Standing beside her mother's grave, Spider finally finds something she has been searching for all along. Peace. Not with what happened, but with the woman her mother was. And as she looks toward an uncertain future, she understands that some goodbyes are not about letting go. They are about finding the strength to move forward.